God's blessings to everyone. This is a DGHradio.com news and information news update for the United States and world, and I'm reporter KKH reporting the news for Monday, September 29th, 2025, covering the latest developments from across the United States and the world. We begin in Washington, where the White House and congressional leaders are locked in last-minute negotiations to avert a partial federal government shutdown. Key disputes center on healthcare funding, education priorities, and the length of any short-term extension. Agencies have prepared contingency plans which could slow small business loans, national park services, and some economic data releases if a lapse occurs. The deeper question, which essential services should be insulated from political standoffs so families and markets are not whiplashed every few months. Also in the nation's capital, the administration has asked the highest court to fast-track review of an executive order touching birthright citizenship. At stake are long-standing interpretations of the 14th Amendment and the rights of children born in the United States to non-citizen parents. Supporters say the order clarifies policy. Critics warn that constitutional rights should not be reset by executive action. The ruling, whenever it arrives, will shape immigration law and national identity for a generation. In the Pacific Northwest, a legal clash is unfolding over federal authority. The president ordered National Guard troops to Portland, while Oregon's leaders filed suit to stop the deployment, arguing it oversteps state powers and risks inflaming tensions. The administration maintains the move is lawful and necessary to protect facilities and restore order. This case will test where the line is drawn between state policing powers and federal intervention during periods of civil unrest. Public safety headlines turned heartbreaking in two separate incidents. In North Carolina, a mass shooting at a Riverside restaurant left 3 people dead and at least 8 injured. A suspect was arrested at the scene and charged with multiple counts. In Michigan, a worship service turned tragic when a gunman rammed a vehicle into a church, opened fire, and ignited a blaze, leaving 4 dead and others wounded before the suspect was killed by police. Communities are mourning, counselors are mobilized, and investigators are combing for motives and missed warning signs. The policy questions remain urgent. How can open, welcoming spaces harden their safety without losing their character? And what earlier interventions might prevent future attacks? Aviation authorities in Charlotte uncovered a grim discovery: a deceased stowaway in an aircraft's landing gear compartment after a transatlantic flight. Investigators are reviewing perimeter security and ground handling procedures. The tragedy underscores both the desperation that fuels dangerous migration attempts and the persistent gaps that airports and airlines must close without disrupting critical operations. Consumer Safety Today, a major automaker, is recalling more than 196,000 vehicles in the United States over a starter system component that can corrode and overheat. Owners will be notified for free repairs and are advised to park outside until the fix is completed. The recall highlights a broader issue: how quickly can manufacturers trace supply chain faults and alert drivers before incidents occur? Health news brings reassurance for expecting families. A very large study tracking millions of births found no evidence that using the common pain reliever acetaminophen during pregnancy causes autism or related developmental conditions when rigorous methods are applied, including sibling-by-sibling comparisons. Doctors still advise using the lowest effective dose when truly needed, because untreated fever and severe pain can pose risks of their own. The lesson for public figures in social media: health advice must follow evidence, not anecdotes. Overseas, voters in Moldova handed a strong parliamentary majority to a pro-European governing party, signaling a strategic turn away from Moscow's influence and toward deeper integration with the European Union. Observers reported high turnout and fairness despite concerns about outside interference. The outcome will accelerate reforms and may reshape security and economics along Europe's eastern frontier. In Moscow, officials say future strategic arms talks should ultimately include the nuclear arsenals of Britain and France, not just the 2 largest stockpiles. The immediate proposal is to extend existing limits for a year. While broader terms are negotiated, the global stakes are clear. The more comprehensive the table, the more durable any reduction framework can be. Tensions continue across the Middle East. In Iran, authorities carried out capital punishment against a person accused of spying for a rival state, part of a broader wave wave of executions that rights groups condemn and that officials defend as matters of national security. In parallel, United States officials report cautious movement in diplomacy around Gaza, with ideas focused on hostage releases, expanded humanitarian aid, and steps to reduce fighting. Whether humanitarian measures can be sequenced into a sustainable de-escalation remains the hard question. In South Asia, reports indicate the administration is considering ways to regain access to Afghanistan's Bagram air base, a move supporters say would improve response options in a volatile region, and critics warn could draw the United States back into complex entanglements. Meanwhile, a major technology company has ended certain cloud services for a foreign military following an internal ethics review tied to surveillance concerns, raising fresh questions about the responsibilities of private firms in conflict zones. In the Americas, Colombia's president condemned the United States for revoking his travel visa after controversial remarks abroad, framing the move as a free speech issue and adding strain to an already testy bilateral relationship. Diplomats are watching whether this dispute spreads into cooperation on migration, security, or trade. Economic diplomacy elsewhere. Spain's government is optimistic that the European Union and the Mercosur bloc can finally ratify a far-reaching trade agreement by the end of the year. Backers expect lower tariffs, job growth, and stronger environmental and labor safeguards. Skeptics want proof that standards will be enforced on the ground. Global talent competition is heating up. China has unveiled a new K-visa designed to attract foreign technology experts just as the United States raises fees for certain skilled worker visas. Companies and engineers are weighing costs, research ecosystems, and long-term stability as they decide where to live and build. The outcome will shape artificial intelligence, chip design, and digital markets for years. Climate and environment. Spain endured one of its most destructive wildfire seasons in years, intensifying calls for better forest management, including controlled burns and rural land stewardship. Farther south, Namibia deployed hundreds of soldiers, aircraft, and water trucks to battle a massive blaze, consuming a large swath of the Etosha National Park, threatening wildlife and tourism. These emergencies point to a larger reality. Hotter, drier conditions are colliding with land use practices, demanding preventive strategies, not just emergency response. Severe weather remains active. Hurricane Humberto has strengthened over the Atlantic while Tropical Storm Imelda spins nearby, expected to intensify as it parallels parts of the Bahamas before curving out to sea. Even without landfall, long-period swells, dangerous rip currents, and coastal flooding are likely along sections of the Atlantic seaboard. In Southeast Asia, Typhoon Bualoy struck Vietnam with damaging winds, torrential rains, and widespread power outages, prompting evacuations and airport closures. Authorities warn that the greatest dangers often occur after wind speeds drop when floodwaters, mudslides, and damaged infrastructure take their toll. Preparedness, clear public messaging, and resilient building codes remain the difference between disruption and disaster. And a historic sports note to close. After more than a decade, England's women captured the World Championship in rugby on home soil, defeating Canada before a record crowd. The win capped an extraordinary winning streak and is expected to accelerate investment and youth participation in the women's game. Success at home can transform a sport's future when federations convert momentum into facilities, coaching, and media coverage. These and other issues are of great concern within the islands. What do you think are some good solutions? Let us know your thoughts by texting your comments to 1-315-898-1449. You can also join our WhatsApp group and get the news, weather, and other insightful information delivered right to your smartphone. To join, text JOIN to 1-315-898-1449. Please include your name in the text message. You will receive a call to verify your request. I'm your reporter, KKH, signing off for DGHradio.com. Remember, KKH and DGH, together we provide key facts, keen judgment, and honesty as we deliver groundbreaking headlines. Ciao.